Today, I will show you how to get the angles of trigonometric ratios using the special triangles. Okay, the first one is the trigonometric ratio of 45-degree angle. So we will use here the 45-45-90 degree triangle, and the values of the side here are 1, 1, and the hypotenuse is square root of 2. And in this part, since the angle is 45 degrees, so let's say the basis of the angle is 45 degrees, or this is the theta. So we have here the opposite side. 1 is also the adjacent side, and the hypotenuse is square root of 2. And using the mnemonics SOHCAHTOA, we can use this as the guide to get the basic trigonometric ratios. And the first one here is the sine 45 degrees. In sine 45, we will use the ratio of the opposite side over the hypotenuse, wherein the value of opposite side is 1 over the hypotenuse is square root of 2. And we have here the rule for radicals, wherein there should be no radical sign in the denominator. So to remove the radical sign, we need to rationalize the denominator by multiplying both numerator and denominator to its similar radical of the denominator, which is square root of 2 over square root of 2. And then simplify it. 1 times square root of 2, that is square root of 2 over square root of 2 times square root of 2, that is square root of 4, and square root of 4 is equal to 2. Therefore, the value of sine 45 degrees is square root of 2 all over 2. The next one here is the cosine. So in cosine, we will use adjacent side over the hypotenuse. So the cosine of 45 degrees is equal to 1 over square root of 2. Just like in sine 45, we need to rationalize the denominator of this value by multiplying it to square root of 2. So 1 times square root of 2, again that is square root of 2, over square root of 2 times square root of 2, this will become 2. And cosine 45 degrees is equal to square root of 2 over 2. Okay, and the next trigonometric ratio will be the tangent 45 degrees. And in tangent 45, we will use the ratio of the opposite side over the adjacent side. So in this illustration, the opposite side is 1 over the adjacent side is 1. So 1 divided by 1 is equal to 1. And then we are done with the basic trigonometric ratios. Let's now have the reciprocal of trigonometric ratios. So the reciprocal of sine 45 degrees, that would be cosecant 45 degrees. And in cosecant, we will use the ratio of the hypotenuse, which is square root of 2 over the opposite side, which is 1. Square root of 2 divided by 1 is equal to square root of 2. The next ratio will be the reciprocal of cosine, which is the secant 45 degrees. So just like in the previous ratios, so the hypotenuse here is square root of 2 over the adjacent side is 1. So square root of 2 divided by 1 is equal to square root of 2. And for the last ratio, the reciprocal of tangent 45 is cotangent 45 degrees. So that is the adjacent side, which is 1, divided by the opposite side is 1. So 1 divided by 1 is equal to 1. Next is the trigonometric ratio of 30 degrees angle. So in this measurement, we will use the 30, 60, 90 triangle. And then the opposite side of 30 degrees is equal to 1. And the adjacent side of 30 degrees is square root of 3. And then the hypotenuse is 2. So using the SOHCAHTOA, let's get the sine 30 degrees. So sine 30 degrees, that is opposite over hypotenuse. So that is 1/2. Next is cosine 30 degrees. That is adjacent side, which is a square root of 3 over the hypotenuse 2. And then for the third ratio, we have tangent 30 degrees is equal to the opposite side, which is 1, over the adjacent side is square root of 3. And again, in the rule of the radicals, there should be no radical sign in the denominator, so we need to rationalize it by multiplying the given or the value by the similar radical of the denominator, which is square root of 3. 1 times square root of 3 is square root of 3 over square root of 3 times square root of 3, that would be square root of 9, and square root of 9 is equal to 3. Therefore, tangent 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 3. And then for the next ratio, we have the cosecant 30 degrees. And in cosecant 30 degrees, that is the reciprocal of sine 30 degrees. So that is 2 over 1 is equal to 2. And then for the next ratio, we have the secant 30 degrees. So we have 2 over 2 is the hypotenuse over the adjacent side, which is square root of 3. Again, we need to rationalize it by multiplying both numerator and denominator to its similar radical. So we have 2 times square root of 3, that is 2 square root of 3 over square root of 3 times square root of 3, that would be square root of 9, and square root of 9 is 3. And then for the last ratio, we have the cotangent 30 degrees. So in cotangent 30 degrees, we have a square root of 3, which is the adjacent side, over the opposite side is 1. And then the cotangent 30 degrees is equal to square root of 3. The next one is the trigonometric ratio of 60-degree angle. So in this part, we will also use the 30, 60, 90 degree triangle, and the theta here or the angle is 60 degrees. So the opposite side of 60 degrees, that would be square root of 3. And then the adjacent side is 1. And then for the hypotenuse, that is 2. So let's get the sine 60 degrees. Sine 60 degrees is equal to the opposite, which is square root of 3 over the hypotenuse is 2. And then for the cosine 60 degrees, that would be the adjacent side 1 over the hypotenuse is 2. And then tangent 60 degrees is equal to the opposite is square root of 3 over adjacent is 1. So the answer is square root of 3. Next is the cosecant 60 degrees. That is equal to 2 over square root of 3. And if we will rationalize this, we will get 2 times square root of 3 is 2 square root of 3 over square root of 3 times square root of 3. That would be 3. And then next is the secant 60 degrees is equal to 2 over 1, which is equal to 2. And then for the last ratio, we have the cotangent 60 degrees, that is 1 over square root of 3. And then rationalize it, and we'll get 1 times square root of 3 is square root of 3 over square root of 3 times square root of 3, that is square root of 9, which is equal to 3. Therefore, sine 60 is square root of 3 over 2, cosine 60 is 1 half, tangent 60 is square root of 3, and cosecant 60 is 2 square root of 3 over 3, secant 60 degrees is 2, cotangent 60 degrees is square root of 3 over 3. And that's all for the trigonometric ratio of the special angles.